Isn't it wonderful when you can have a pleasant, positive conversation with a polite prospect who seems to love the ideas you're putting forth? Well, be careful what you wish for, though, because you might just be falling into a trap that will cost you time and money. Let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk, and I'll tell you just what I mean and how to keep this from happening to you.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jollis.
For people who sell, there are many different objections that they need to prepare for: cost, trust, and urgency, just to mention a few. And one of the leading objections, however, is often misread. As a matter of fact, if you aren't paying close attention, you'll never see it coming. You'll just be another victim of what I call the polite prospect syndrome. A few years ago, after 27 great years in our home, we put our house up on the market to sell. We did everything the realtor told us, including working with a professional stager. The house never looked better, and we couldn't wait for our first open house and all the competing offers we were about to receive. The feedback from those who came by could not have been nicer. According to our agent, people just loved our house. But strangely enough, we received no contracts. Surely the lack of actual offers was an anomaly, so the very next weekend we opened it up again with the same results. People just loved our house, but still no offers. A month went by, and each time our house was shown, we seemed to hear that same feedback. 1 month became 2, and I finally asked to meet with our realtor. I understood that we were getting the views we were looking for and good feedback, but something wasn't working. This wasn't a marketing problem. This was a sales problem. Once I expressed my concern, my realtor reminded me of something I'd clearly forgotten. Yes, prospects are telling us they like your house, but they're also being polite. They don't want to hurt your feelings. She explained that buyers are often polite, and in a sense, too polite. Does this sound like a made-up excuse by a realtor who's having trouble selling houses? Think again. Think about the last time you were undecided about purchasing an item, an expensive item, and the salesperson you were working with could not have been nicer. I'm guessing you made up a few excuses, and I'm also guessing you did this because you didn't want to hurt the feelings of the person who was working with you. I'm also guessing from time to time you avoided all attempts to communicate with you and hid from the salesperson whose feelings you didn't want to hurt. It seems ironic that often the polite prospect can be the most difficult prospect. But there are solutions to this problem. Just because a prospect is polite, it doesn't mean the prospect doesn't need to be sold. Polite prospects fear change, just like everyone else. Don't confuse a polite prospect with a committed prospect. Please also remember that you don't have to guess where the prospect is in his or her decision cycle. You can always ask. For instance, the first decision a prospect needs to make is whether or not to fix his or her existing problem. After you've helped the prospect to look deeper at the problem, and you want to find out if the prospect is truly ready to fix it, why not ask? Are you committed to making a change? Once a prospect has made a decision to change, the second decision a prospect needs to make is what actually addresses the problem he or she is trying to tackle. When you've asked the prospect to crystallize what the solution looks like, why not ask, will you be basing your decision on this list of criteria? Once a prospect has made a decision to change and he or she knows what that solution needs to look like, the third decision a prospect needs to make is where to find the solution. At the appropriate time, why not ask? If we can find something that addresses your list of criteria to your total satisfaction, is there any reason why you would not give us a realistic opportunity to work with you? Trial closers not only confirm where a prospect is in his or her decision making, but it also creates a series of commitments that even polite prospects will abide by. The next time you're having a conversation with a prospect and they seem to like the ideas you're presenting, don't become another casualty of the polite prospect syndrome. Gain commitments along the way. What's the worst that will happen when you ask for those commitments? You'll hear an objection? Remember, you want to hear that objection because you may very well be saving yourself time and money by not chasing after a prospect that was never qualified to begin with.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.